Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Wonderful. Thank you all. Now, we are all celebrating the Water Day. Yesterday was a Forest Day. Where there is a forest, you have water. When you destroy forest, you will have a crisis of water. As a children, as a youngster of today, when you are equipping yourself with the knowledge of engineering, you should also think about Mother Earth. As you all know, we have only one Earth. Do we have more than one? I'm asking a question. Do we have more than one Earth?
No, sir.
See that we all have one mother at home and one Mother Earth. When you respect Mother at home, naturally you will also respect Mother Earth. My generation has committed a serious mistake of mismanaging the resources. But now today you have an opportunity. If the mistakes happen, how to rectify that? That is what is required. There are challenges and opportunities on your shoulder. When you graduate from an institution like this, don't think that you have become an engineer. You should become an engineer that country requires. An engineer, just ask him, I want a discipline. I travel with a purpose. When you graduate out of an institution like this, you will become an engineer. You have the responsibility of making sure that your engineering talent and excellence is implemented in true spirit. Your agenda should not be how to optimize or how to get higher salary. Your agenda should be how to manage natural resources so that your children and your grandchildren don't face the crisis of water. Those who are following my writing would have noticed the way I write and speak. Today, the Bangalore is facing a water crisis for the two reasons. One is because of the irresponsible, unplanned urbanization. I always ask the decision makers of today, why are we loading the Bangalore beyond its carrying capacity? There is something called a carrying capacity. To put it in simpler words, as a youth of 20 or 21 years, you may be able to lift about 50 kgs without any problem. If I ask you to lift 150 kgs, what will happen? You will collapse. That's what has happened with Bangalore. Unplanned, irresponsible urbanization has deprived the water to the people. Has deprived the water to the people like me or the mid-income family, low-income family. And even it has affected the elites. One of my colleagues who stays in an apartment somewhere here, he travels to Sanjay Nagar to take bath. You can see the severity of the situation. And this has happened because of the engineering fraternity in Bangalore, because of the bureaucracy in Bangalore. When I show my slides, you will understand how the mistakes are happening. There's a serious problem. One is, our lakes are interconnected. There is something called stormwater drain. As a civil engineer, you know that. Stormwater drains or rajakalways or the conduits that carry the water. That has a hydrological function. That when the water moves, there is a groundwater recharge happens. But in the name of remodeling of drains, when the floods happen, 21st century, irresponsible engineers, they concretize the drain. When they concretize the drain, large amount of the water flows on the overland, creating the floods. puts thousands of people into vulnerable situation. For example, if you look at Belandur and Agaram drain is concretized. Consequence of that, Koramangala faced the flooding. And not only we concretize, we also narrow the drain. And that's where, the city, sometimes when I look at who are the people who are dictating terms in the city or estate, we don't feel bad. We are dictated by mafias. The water mafia and the real estate mafia. Narrowing drain is a classic example of how the real estate mafia are dictating the terms in the city. Now, lakes which were interconnected hundreds of years back, today the interconnectivity is lost. When I look at who are the people responsible for removing the interconnectivity, it is the influential section of the society. Could be the film hero or the politician, such people. When you look at city of Bangalore, historically, we had good rulers. Kempegowda's time. Today's Bangalore is 740 square kilometer. In this 740 square kilometer, we had 1,452 water bodies, interconnected water bodies. Because of that, water was moving from one lake to the other. And 80% green cover. Because of that, temperature in the region was 14 to 16 degrees Celsius during May month. May month is summer. And today we have 193 water bodies, less than 4% green cover. Temperature in the city already in the March month we have crossed 35. And we might reach 40 also. Coupled with that, because of the removal of trees, we have lost the oxygen. There are instances people using oxygen cylinder in the city. Since you are all in the hostel here, some of you are in the residence close by, you might not have noticed. If you come to the other part of the city, you see people using oxygen cylinder. That is because of the removal of the trees. When I attend meetings in Vidhan Sauda, sometimes people ask me, sir, why do we want trees? This is a ruling class. Do you know why we need trees? Fresh. That's where one of the gentlemen who was a minister asked me, you always talk for the trees, etc. We don't require trees. Then I told him, please allow me to do a small experiment on you. I always go with my students. That gentleman thought that since I am from Science Institute, I am going to have some complex experiment on him. I requested him to sit down. And then I asked my student, go and close his nose. Let us see whether he survives. He went and did it. Then he said, sir, I need something. Then I told him that is called oxygen or amlajanaka. And since you didn't know, I have to do this experiment. So when people do not know, it's our responsibility to convey the message in a strong way. That's what we did. What I am speaking today is nothing new. Look at Bible. There's a mention of why nature conservation has to be done at least 320 times. Look at Quran. When you understand the concepts, Quran tells us of imminent war when you pollute water bodies. That's why when you visit Dargah, you have to wash your feet and finger with a clean water. That's where in good Dargah, there will be wells. You have to draw the water from the well and then wash your feet and finger. Then only you can visit Dargah. That means when you practice that in Dargah, they thought that you will also practice at home and practice in the neighborhood. And the scriptures, what we follow, Rigveda, also talk about it. Matsya Purana, it says very effectively. If you have well at home, you are wealthy. 10 wells are equal to 1 lake. 10 lakes are equal to 1 sarovar. 10 sarovar is equivalent to 1 child. 10 children are equal to 1 tree. See the power of the writing of earlier time. Now I put it other way. When 10 children are equal to 1 tree, That means the benefit of what you get from 10 children, you can get the same benefit from the planting and nurturing a sapling. I'll put it other way. If you cut a tree, you are murdering your own children, 10 children. When I write this, I always draw this kind of thing from my earlier literatures, and I cite it and I write. And it became quite powerful. Once one of the forest officer landed in my office. Normally when they come, I ask them to sit for a while, because I know they have come in the city which is highly polluted. Normally when you are exposed to the pollution, you are very aggressive. You are either aggressive or non-responsive. So then after a few seconds, I noticed that gentleman had tears in his eyes. Then I asked him, sir, what happened? My lab is so inhospitable, you are crying. He told me, I am crying because of you. I was so happy. If I have made somebody to cry, that's a good sign. Don't you think so? That's what your parents think at home. Then he told me, he pulled out an article what I had written from his bag. He pulled out and he said, you have branded us as murderers. I said, no, I didn't brand you as a murderer. Maybe I have written that people who cut trees are murderers. Then he told me, sir, I have to widen a road where 179 trees have to be removed. If I remove 179 trees, tomorrow you will write one more article saying that I have murdered 1790 children. I thought that was a good thing. I said, that is good. Then he said, if I don't remove it, I will lose the job. Now I want the solution. Then I told him, near to this location there is a vacant land. Just talk to the people who manage that land, which is a government land. Ask, you take up the planting. Plant at least 2 years old sapling. And also you announce that I will do the transplantation. The moment he started that initiative, Bangaloreans appreciated and supported it. That means where sensible interventions are there, there is a support from everyone. When there is no sensible intervention, people suffer. In the process, no one supports them. Today, the crisis of Bangalore is that you do not get water in the tap for the two reasons. One, because of changes in climate, Kaveri catchment is dry. The climate change is happening. We need to ask why the climate change is happening? Because of the deforestation. Why deforestation happened? Because of so-called development. People are talking and looting the resources. Every time a timber tree was cut and the thing, somebody is getting developed, but the region was getting into the vulnerable situation more and more. The second thing is 45% of Bangalore depends on the groundwater. We have made the land paved surface. As a civil engineer, you know what is paved surface. The land with the concrete structures, etc. As per the norm, 33% should have been the green cover. But look at the 3% or a 4% is a green cover. And because of that, the land which was a porous in 1973 has become a paved surface. Because of the paved surface, there is no groundwater recharge. And coupled with that, there is over-exploitation because of too many projects coming up in the city. If you want groundwater, you have to make the land porous. How to do that? My solution, which I am going to talk in my presentation, is to rejuvenate the lake and retain the rainwater. Second is, have the mini forest in each ward of 2 hectares area of native species. And third thing is, let us decongest the city. Let us also make sure that unless we assess the carrying capacity, no more growth in the city. Don't think that you don't get a job. First you need water. So let us make sure everyone has water so that there is a prosperity in the system. Let us not face a situation with a water crisis, only few enjoying while the rest of the people suffering. The science is for the benefit of the people. The government of India has come up with a program called Lifestyle for Environment. Lifestyle for Environment promotes or advocates how you need to have the lifestyle which are conducive for environment. As a youngsters today, I want you to take a pledge. For a while you stand up and say that we will not waste the water and we will plan the region that is livable. Please do that. One of you can repeat what I said. We will not waste the water. You can put your hand and say that. And as an engineer, we plan the region so that there is no scarcity of resources. Okay, thank you all. That is the message I wanted to carry forward. Please practice this. Don't forget, as soon as I leave out the room, I keep coming to the people who load the resources very often in their dream and all. So I keep coming to that. Please as a youngster, learn engineering principles and become a very talented engineer. The nation requires youngsters like you all. Nation requires youngsters who are sensible. So sensible youth is the one who has adequate knowledge to manage the resources. So I wish you all the success. Thank you very much. Who presented a very powerful play with a message. That's what is required for the generation today. We need to alert the people and also give the message that if we are irresponsible, how we will pay the price by not having the water. Okay? So, as I said in the morning, yesterday was a forest day, today is the water day. How beautifully it has come. Without forest, you don't have water. Without forest in Kaveri Basin, you cannot think of having a glass of water at home. So that's where it becomes the responsibility of everyone to protect the forest and also the critical water resources. Now, I have modified my talk title. I will say conservation of forest and wetland for human well-being. Okay. See, if the country adopts the path what I am talking, your children will not face the water crisis. That's what I am looking for. And why we need water bodies or the wetlands? It provides you the water. Because of water, you have the water security. Because of water security, you have food security. And also, if the water is not contaminated, you will also have the health. And everyone will have the resources. That is our agenda. That's the agenda of my research, is to ensure that everyone have the resources. And we did a study to find out what is the worth of the forest. You might see the forest, you might think, okay, it's only a bunch of trees. But when you assign the value to that, the services provided by forest, you will be surprised to see the kind of the services the forest provides. If the time permits, I will touch upon that at the end. And we need to design the city, or we need to design the country, plan the country to be resilient to the climate. That's where responsible planning is required. For responsible planning, we need youngsters, we need the decision makers who are environmentally literate. The general literacy in Bangalore is as high as 85%, next to Mumbai. But when you look at environmental literacy, my study shows only 3.5% of Bangalorean are environmentally literate, which means 96% of Bangalorean are Shatamurtas. Because of that, we have the water scarcity. Because of that, we have water crisis. When you have to manage the system which is resilient to climate and to have the water all the time, you need to maintain the ecosystem integrity. Once you maintain the ecosystem integrity, you will have ecological security, and also you know how to adapt to the changes in climate. So the youngsters who are in the last rows, you have the responsibility. I am a guest here. Aditi Deva Bhava. You should keep that in mind. Now we all follow Matru-deva Bhava, Pitru-deva Bhava, Aditi-deva Bhava also. Please respect your guests as you respect parents at home. When we talk about future, it has to be a sustainable future. What is the sustainable future? Ensuring clean air, water and environment to you all and your children. That is the sustainable future. For that, we need to be responsible. You are sitting in a classroom to learn so that you become responsible. Now, how do I teach in my classroom so that my students all learn the basics of you might be engineering students. Just look at this slide. I want a youngster sitting in the last row to tell me thermodynamic principles, to explain this. Those who are talking. At this food chain, the producers are producing the food which is eaten by the next level. Okay? And when that happens, there is an energy and material transfer happen from one level to the other level. Okay? And whatever is left in the system gets converted into elemental form by bacteria and fungi. There is nothing called waste in the system because of that. Because the energy and material is synthesized. That's the first and second law of thermodynamics. Third law talks about law of entropy, which talks about the loss of energy. So when there is a respiration, there is a loss of energy. That is the law of entropy. This is how you have to learn the principles, engineering principles, linking that with the Mother Earth. When you do that, you will be highly successful as an engineer. At the same time, more importantly, you are also a good human being because you know that how Mother Earth functions. Okay. Now let us look at what is the kind of resources we have got on the Earth. For a few minutes, I will take you to the Western Ghats because without Western Ghats, you cannot think of water. The scriptures talk about 8 to 12 million species. For example, Rigveda talks about it. And in science, we have estimated about 1.2 million species. When I say the variety of species, when you have a different varieties of plants and animals, you have different food. Because of the different food, you have immunity. Those who take those who practice balanced diet, having the variety of items in their food plate, they are healthy. Okay. So now let us see where the variety of plants and animals occur. Let us move latitudinally. You are all engineers. You know what is latitude, longitude. I will not get into the details of that. When you move latitudinally across the latitude, you see the highest number of plants and animals occur at this latitude, which corresponds to 8 to 14 degree latitude, which is Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Goa. We have inherited the Western Ghats, which is rich in diversity. Rich in diversity gives us the food security and the water security. That means it is there on our shoulders to protect this fragile ecosystem so that it sustains the resources. Okay, now how do you do that? This is where the technology comes to the picture. We launched the satellites way back in 70s. Every 21 or 30 days you get a picture of the Earth. That's called remote sensing data. Maybe you may not, if you have taken elective, you would be studying that. See, once you want to analyze what changes are happening in the system, you need to look at the picture. When you have taken a picture of yourself today and about 10 years back, you can assess what the morphological feature has happened in the morphological features. Similarly, when you analyze the picture of the Earth, you can see what changes are happening in the system. That is a big data what we have. And to analyze this big data, earlier, for example, to analyze the land cover of a district, it used to take about 6 to 8 months. But today, because of artificial intelligence and machine learning, the advancement in GIS, geoinformatics, it becomes the faster. This entire Western Ghats was analyzed by Dr. Bharat, who was a faculty in the School of Sciences here, and now he is currently in Chanakya in 6 months. The talented youth and talented, the youth with appropriate capability, using the technology and latest advancement in artificial intelligence and machine learning, you can do wonders. So that's the demonstration of that. And once you know the changes that is happening in the system, green is reducing, which means forest is reducing. Not only green is reducing, green is also becoming fragmented. That means forests are also becoming fragmented. Now, what is the likely scenario? And what is the use of this? Let us try to see that. As you all know, the forest or the vegetation has the important process called the photosynthesis. During photosynthesis, the carbon in the atmosphere is sequestered by the vegetation, the leaves, converted into glucose, the food, and you get oxygen. If there is no photosynthesis, there wouldn't have been any oxygen on the earth. The reason for 3.5% green cover in Bangalore has led to the scarcity of oxygen in the system. You might ask, how many trees I have to plant to have oxygen for myself? You all breathe. Is there anyone who is not breathing in this room? I want you to raise hands. Okay. That means all of you are breathing. When you breathe, you give out a carbon dioxide to an extent of 540 to 980 grams per person per day. Myself, Nagesh, age group, 540 grams. You all give out 980 grams, 1 kg of carbon dioxide every day. And that carbon is sequestered by the trees to an extent of 6 to 9 tons per year. By that ratio, for every human being, there should have been 7 to 8 trees. But what we have in Bangalore is 7% 1 tree. Is it good? I'm asking a question. Okay. Now, how much carbon is stored by the trees? We did the quantification of that. Using the biomass. Quantify the biomass, you will know that how much the biomass in the above ground and below ground and in the soil. And once you have that assessment of carbon, you will be surprised to see that Western Ghats stores about 1.23 million gigagram of carbon, and every year it stores about 37,000 gigagram of carbon, which is equivalent to the emission that is happening in cities like the Cochin, Trivandrum, Mangalore, Bangalore, Mumbai, etc. That's how the nature does the balance. Whatever the emission happening, it is sequestered by the thing. But when you remove the trees, you lose that opportunity to sequester the carbon. And in terms of money, everyone talks about money. The moment you graduate or when you are in a final year, first thing you will think about it, how much I earn. Nothing wrong in that. But you should also know how much I can contribute to the mother nature. Okay? If you have that, then your earning is meaningful. So when I assign that monetary value, it amounts to 100 billion rupees or $1.4 billion. You might ask, this currency, how it matters to us. When I go to the international meetings, I tell them, forests in my country was doing the job of carbon sequestration. That carbon was emitted by you all because you all were industrialized. And that because of the carbon in the atmosphere, because of forest in my country, we have removed the carbon from the atmosphere because we have only one earth. What you emitted, forest in my country has taken. You need to pay this amount. So when they give that money, we will do the conservation. Otherwise, the country claims that there are no money for conservation. If this continues, what is likely to happen? Now today, in the last decade, we have lost 5% of evergreen forest. Now today, we have only 10% under evergreen forest or less than 18% under the forest in Western Ghats. And if it continues, there is a further degradation of the forest happens. You might ask, so what? Why should I worry? The worry comes here. There is a changes in temperature, changes in rainfall pattern and intensity of rainfall. The Kerala, which will become warmer. It is wet, but now it will become warmer. And more importantly, that the rainfall pattern If Kerala used to receive higher rainfall for higher number of months, will start getting lower rainfall. Whereas the northern western Ghat will receive the floods. That becomes the impact. Then the third thing is the intensity of rainfall. Rainfall, which is supposed to be for continuously for 3 or 4 months, you will get it for in few weeks. That means large quantum of water in a shorter duration, which is called high intensity rainfall. When you have high intensity rainfall, and because you have removed the vegetation cover, the landscape become vulnerable, and it will undergo because of the flooding, you will have landslides and mudslides. That's what happened in Kodagu and why not in Kerala. This work we published in 2018. We said that there is going to be landslides and mudslides. People didn't give importance. When landslides happened in Kodagu and in Wayanad, the people started approaching me, asking, "Sir, what is the solution?" I said, I had given a suggestion 3 years back. Why you are not taken into account? That is where the irresponsible decision making, induces vulnerable situation in the system. Okay. Now, if we have to equip the decision maker, I thought there should be a decision support system. That's where we designed the decision support system, capturing all the features, biogeoclimatic variable. We designed the decision support system. How did we design? For example, if you have the forest cover, we divided into the micro level, 9 kilometer by 9 kilometer grid. In each grid, we looked at what is the forest cover. Based on that, we assign the weight. Similarly, we looked at the flora and fauna, the plants and animals. Based on their the IUCN criteria, we assign the weight. Okay. Then this gives the biomass and carbon in the system, and this gives the flora and fauna in the region. I will not get into the details. There is a paper available online. Those of you who are interested can go through that. If there are any doubts, you can write to me. Okay. And when I integrate all those things, I can, like you get CGPA. Each subject you have the mark. Based on that, there is a grade. When you aggregate it, you have CGPA. Based on that, your ranking is decided. Similarly, we did the computer CGPA for all the grids. And whichever had the highest, we said ESR 1. Then next is ESR 2. Then light green is ESR 3. And blue is ESR 4. So now, we also have the detail at village level. See, this empowers the village biodiversity committees, Panchayat biodiversity committee, so that they can take the appropriate decisions. And now the decision support what we have developed is available online for people to access. They can visualize their village. If the time permits at the end, probably I will show that. Otherwise, this is the URL you can access, and you can see that the whatever we have developed, the decision support system. Now, with this background, let us understand the science part of it. Why do we require forest as a civil engineers? Do you require forest, civil engineers? I want you to raise your hands. How many want forest? So you can capture it. I will come back in your life again after 5 years. I will ask the same question. Okay? Now, to understand it, this is a good thing. You are all environmentally literate. That's a good sign. There is a hope in the system. At one end, when I go to the Vidhan Soda, I lose hope. But when I come to the institution like this, my energy is rejuvenated because of the hope, because of the youth response. As I highlighted earlier, I need more and more sensible youth in the system. That's where when irresponsible behavior happens, I get agitated. Now with this, let me take you to the region, narrate a story. This is when I was of your age, and today, the situation, same day, same month, same monsoon. See, what is you see here, water is missing here. What do you see here? The vegetation is not there. Is it because of vegetation loss, we lost the water? You agree with that? See, to understand that, you should understand the land cover dynamic. How the land cover happens, your ecosystem functions also depends on that. You know the ecosystem function include water cycle, nutrient cycle, biogeochemical cycle. Okay. Now to understand this further, I'll take you to a river basin, Sharavati River Basin. You know the dam was constructed in 1965 at Linganmakki. You know, you see that reservoir is here. You know, when you look at carefully, one part of Linganmakki reservoir has a dense network of stream, the other part has the sparse. Now you just overlay the vegetation cover on that. You will see wherever vegetations are there, you see dense network of stream. Wherever vegetation is degraded, you see sparse network of vegetation. Okay? Look at the terrain. Entire terrain is an undulating terrain and it receives the orographic precipitation. I am sure as a civil engineer, in your hydrology course, you would have studied these terms. Okay? So now, when it rains, the entire region receives the rain. Now let us look at the rainfall pattern because of these changes in land cover. You know, 100 years back when you look at the region, entire region had vegetation cover. You know, if you want to see the rainfall analysis, you know, you have the rainfall data of 123 years on daily basis. Just download that data. You divide it into two time periods, 1901 to 1965 and 1965 to today. 1901 to 1964, this entire region was receiving the rainfall of about 3,000 to 4,500. Now today, 1965 to today, when you look at, this region continues to receive rainfall of 3,000 to 4,500, while this region started receiving the rainfall of about 1,700 to 1,900 millimeter, which means there is a 50% reduction in the rainfall because of the changes in land cover. Do you agree with this as civil engineer? Okay, there is no response because slightly complex phenomenon. Now to understand that, let me find out what is the forest cover at a macro level. You know, you have first order stream, two first order stream join form the second order, then cluster of that forms the tributary. Let us delineate a sub-basin for each tributary and find out what is the forest cover and the rainfall. Now when you do that, see, in this catchment, sub-basin, forest cover is 30%, rainfall is 1,776. Okay, but on the western side, that means this side, you see the forest cover is 65%, rainfall is 4,800, or the forest cover 60%, rainfall is 4,400, which establishes there is a link between the forest cover and the rainfall. Okay, now how much rain you have got is one part of the story, but how long that water is available in your well or in a river, that matters. Because of the water you can sustain your life. Now for that we did a hydrological investigation. We did the sensors in the underlying layer. When it rains, we looked at how much water get infiltrated in the underlying layer because of the rain. When the catchment is dominated by native species forest, similarly, we selected the representative catchment dominated by urban area and the plantation, monoculture plantation. We graded the streams or water bodies as A, B, C, D. A are the stream which carry the water for 12 months. B are the stream which carry the water for 8 months. C are the one carry the water for 6 months. And D are the one carry the water only during the monsoon. Now when you look at that, you see A type of stream. That means the water body has the water for 12 months, provided the catchment has a forest cover more than 60%, that too of native species. When we convert that into monoculture plantation, we have either B or C. That means when you convert the forest into the rubber plantation, acacia or eucalyptus, you see that water availability in the water body is only 8 or 6 months. When we degrade the catchment with a forest cover less than 30%, you see that water flows in that water body only during the monsoon. Okay. Now to summarize this, you see this is where 12 months water is there. The green are the one 8 months, yellow is 6 months, and this is 4 months. Look at the forest cover. Wherever intact forests are there, 12 months water is there. Wherever forests are fragmented, depending on fragmentation, you have 8 to 6 months of water. Wherever forest is degraded less than 30% green cover, you have water only during the monsoon. You might ask, what is the use of this research? Let us look at the demand. You know, people want water for agriculture, horticulture crops, and for drinking. You quantify all those things. You see, this is the region where forest is there. Demand for water is high, but still there is a sufficient water. There is no scarcity. Whereas here, you know, people have degraded the catchment. There is a water demand, but there is no water. So now, how this decides the livelihood of the people? If you are the son or a daughter of a farmer, you will understand what I am saying. See, the farmers in this region, because the 12 months water is available, he or she can grow multiple crop or a cash crop. Because of that, the earning per year is 1,54,000 rupees per acre per year. Whereas here, since the water is available for 4 to 6 months, they can grow only one crop a year. Their earning is 32,000 rupees per acre per year. Now 1,54,000 is higher or 32,000 is higher. That means you need to maintain the ecosystem integrity. See, I have the forest, but still I see the development happening there. Now another important thing, as an engineer you wouldn't have noticed. Look at the pollinators. Pollinators like honeybee, butterflies, these are all abundant here. Because of that abundant pollinators, pollination become efficient. When pollination become efficient, yield of the crop is higher. When the yield of the crop is higher, for example, if you get a paddy yield of 12 to 18 quintal per acre, in this region, the yield is 6 to 8 quintal. Double the income of the farmer may, I would say, give the environment to the farmer like this, they themselves will grow 12 to 18 quintal per acre of paddy as against 6 to 8 quintal per acre. Now you know that how the water decides the livelihood of the people, how the surrounding catchment decides the livelihood of the people. Okay. Now let us see the other animals. These are the various taxons like the tiger, sloth bear, etc. They all are there where water is available 12 months. Where water is not there 12 months, I saw only two-legged animal. Most of them are like you and me only. So that is the problem. Okay. You might ask, what is the other benefit I get from the forest? We discovered 2 species of fish. It has a medicinal property. It can be used for curing the bronchitis or asthma. Okay, thinking that, okay, it has a medicinal property, at your age, we felt that we should become rich. I got those species to my lab, we tried to culture it, replicate it. Then I found that those fish didn't have the medicinal property what we grew in our lab, which says if you want medicine, this fish should thrive in their habitat. For that, fish require 12 months water, then only it can lead a life. If that is the thing, for 12 months water, you need to have a catchment which has a forest cover of 60%, more than 60% of native species. That is where establishes the linkage between the medicinal property versus the terrestrial biodiversity with the aquatic diversity. Now you might ask, global warming is happening, changes in climate is happening, we are going to face the water crisis. What will happen? Let us take an example of the frog. You all know frogs, we call them as amphibians. Why do we call them as amphibians? Because they have 2 stages in the life cycle. First stage is a juvenile stage, the tadpole stage, which is in the water. The next stage is an adult stage, which is on the land. Now if there is no water, what will happen to frog? Juvenile stage cannot happen, tadpole cannot happen. The frog cannot survive. Now look at one of the species we come across called Philatus leucorinus. Like you have the name, no? Like for example, Prajwal is there. So like that, the species also have the name, Philatus leucorinus. You know what it does? It bypasses the tadpole stage itself. If the tadpole stage is there, then only water is required. It intelligently bypasses the tadpole stage so that it doesn't require the water. But on the earth, when there is no water, none of us will survive. Only these organisms will survive. That is where you need to practice water conservation. You need to make sure the water is there at your home, in your neighborhood, and in your nation and in the globe. Okay? That's where our elders protected the patch of forest. They called it as sacred forest or Devarakadu or a Khan or Cow or Rai in Goa. But unfortunately, what is happening? We are removing the natural forests with gods in, if you go there, you will feel the god there. But people are translating that into idle land because people are idle. naturally their idle brain will give only this kind of architecture. The message here is, when you look at Lord Shiva, as long as Lord Shiva has a head, he has the ability to retain the water. Similarly, when Mother Earth is covered with a green saree of native species, she retains the water and gives you the water for 12 months. When you convert that saree of native species into the synthetic saree of rubber plantation or acacia eucalyptus, she will retain the water for 4 to 6 months, and you will have the water scarcity for 4 to 6 months. Okay, when you degrade the catchment with a forest cover less than 30%, only during monsoon you will get the water. Now you got the message. If you want water, how to have the water in the thing? My generation, we graduated looking at the literature written by the Westerners. Westerners say, you cut the trees so that you will have more water in the reservoir. That's why my generation people, when they become engineer in irrigation department and all, they started, first thing is cutting the tree, looting the timber and degrading the thing. In the process, there was some water, but not a sustainable option. Okay, now there is a water crisis. People go on expanding the land. For example, let us learn from the history. The Easter Island, people thought that land is available. They went on expanding. But one day they have to close the land because there is a water crisis. Similarly, last leg of Vijayanagara kingdom, failed because of the water crisis. When I do the field work, my teachers are the local people. This lady taught me what is sustainability. This lady goes under the water. She is at the age group 60 to 65. Goes under the water, collects a bucket full of bivalves. Bivalves is an organism which has a shell with an organism inside that. When she sells that bivalves in the market, she earns 300 to 350 rupees a day. She says that money, 350 rupees a day, is sufficient to run the family. So that's why she doesn't go back and collect the bucket of bivalves. She says that I have kept that the bivalve for tomorrow so that my children can sustain their life. That is the sustainability. When you think of your children, you will think of sustainability. Okay, that is what we need to learn from this indigenous knowledge. Okay. Now with that, let me come to the Bangalore, the city of arrogant people, city of irresponsible people who have denied the children the right for life and right for the water. Okay, I talked about how many lakes were there earlier and today. I will not repeat that. Lakes were interconnected. My first solution to Bangalore is just re-establish interconnectivity among the lakes. If Shobha Prestige is sitting on the Raja Kalve, just throw them out. If Sarathi is sitting on the Raja Kalve in R.R. Nagar, just throw him out, however big he is. That's what is the requirement in the system. I am sure you all know who is Sarathi I am referring. Now let us understand what is the worth of the ecosystem. We all assign the value based on how much we earn. We did the quantification. Provisioning services like fish, fodder, etc. we get from the lake. Then regulating services like carbon sequestration happen. Then cultural services, recreation. Now when you do that, see, this is a historical lake, constructed. This is a city market area. The lake was there, city market to town hall, and the port is there. Port was for securing the people, while the water is for the water security. That is how the city was designed. But today, we have 193 lakes. Most of the lakes, builders look at the lake as the Lakeview apartment spots. They build Lakeview apartments. Okay. Now let's look at the water and the lake. When lake was there, people are getting the water at 100 feet. When the lake is removed, in 6 years, the groundwater table went down to 600 feet. Today, after 23 years, people have gone down to 1,800 feet, but there is no water. But we also have the pride of launching this one, Chandrayaan, in search of water. The same location we have lost the water. 1,800 feet we have gone, but there is no water. And look at the worth of the lake. When the lakes are the pristine, you have the resources in the form of fish, the fodder, agriculture, etc., to an extent of 10,500 rupees per day per hectare. One of the most productive ecosystem. When the lake is polluted, the work comes down to 20 rupees per day per hectare. Who are the people who depend on the lake? Fishermen, washerwomen, farmers, etc. Now, who are the people who pollute the lake? People like us who sit in the city. We send our sewage into the lake. We send our industrial effluent into the lake. That is where the problem is. Okay? So now, we also did a quantification for the entire Karnataka. 39,000 lakes are there. If you look at the worth of the lake, it amounts to about 7,320 billion rupees. That shows it is one of the most productive ecosystem on the earth. Okay? Now, what is the threat? First threat is the irresponsible engineer in Bangalore. Irresponsible architects of Bangalore. You know, city had 68% green cover, less than 8% paved surface in the form of building, etc. Today, 86% is concretized and less than 4% is the trees. You know, now let me animate. This is the 68% green cover city, garden city. 92 with industries happening in Pune and Kormangala, you see changes are happening. 2000, further IT-BT in the outskirts. 2006 intensification. 2009 further intensification. 2021, 81% landscape is concretized. And 2022, 84, and today 86%. You know, there has been 1,055% in increase in concrete area. We lost 79% water bodies and 88% green cover. That's where today the city is facing the water scarcity, acute water scarcity. We are made to drink the treated, partially treated sewage. You know, the people are having the benefit of having the tirtha every day of the sewage what they have generated at home. The same sewage which is partially treated is getting back to your home when the tanker comes to your home. Okay? That's where I said enough is enough. Let us decongest the city. You know, that's what is this one. You know, the city we have translated to this with oxygen deficiency and water scarcity. Okay. Then I thought that there should be a portal which gives a glimpse of this. This is the portal we developed, Bangalore Urban Information System. You know, which gives the thing, all the data what I have analyzed myself, my student, everything is made available. When the data is available in public domain, I hope the people will do the proper planning of the city. That's what our agenda. Then I thought that there should be another portal for the lakes. It is called Bangalore Lake Information System or BLISS. You know the meaning of the word BLISS. I hope with that there is a bliss in the system. So which gives the details of the lake and also it gives the details about how the lake is mismanaged, who has mismanaged, how much he or she has swallowed the lake. I am going to put that data in a few days. One of my students is compiling that. We will put it. Only the thing is the design part has to be done. Hoping that this weekend or next weekend it should be there up. Okay? And when you access that, lake-wise you will get water quality, algae, the zooplankton and the fish. You know which fish is there, what kind of algae is there and what is the water quality of that. All the lake, 193 lake in the city, because of my student, we have compiled the data. Their hard-earned work, I have made it available to the public and the decision maker to stop the irresponsible urbanization happening in the city. You know, this gives a glimpse of the lakes which we have lost and you see the implication of that. The city temperature which was 21 degrees in 92 became 24 degrees in 2000 and 28 degrees in 2010 and today already in February or March it is 34 to 35 degrees Celsius. And if you want to understand the role of lakes and the park, see how happy this gentleman about the sleeping masters. Sir, are you awake? Because I need you in the system tomorrow. See, we moved from the center of the city in a direction. We noticed that wherever water body or vegetation is there, temperature is 2 degrees lower, which shows that vegetation and temperature, thus the moderating of the climate. Okay? Then the consequence of the mismanagement, I crossed 28 minutes. I will take another 5 or 6 minutes. Is that all right? Otherwise, I have an answer. You know, flooding happens because of the interconnectivity is lost. Okay? where interconnectivity is lost, we have done the mapping of that. That's where GIS helps, okay? And remote sensing data tells where all we have lost the interconnectivity across the entire thing. Do we have the data? Can't we use the data for the better planning? Okay? Now, look at the glory of Bangalore. See the froth in the lake and fire in the lake. I have traveled many countries. Nowhere people showed me coexistence of water and fire. When I came back to India, I tried for that, lighting the water. I didn't succeed. But my Bangaloreans show coexistence of water and fire. That shows the pollution of the water. You know, the froth is because of the phosphorus getting into the water body. You know, we need to treat that. If we don't treat it, you know, because of nutrient enrichment, you will see the profuse growth of macrophyte. When there is a profuse growth of macrophyte, there is no sunlight penetration. In the absence of sunlight, you know, the algae doesn't go. Because of that, zooplankton or the fish won't grow. That's where the worth of the lake come down from 10,500 rupees to 20 rupees per hectare per day. You know, that's how it affects the system. But what is the solution the 21st century engineers of Bangalore gave? Instead of having treatment plant, they put the barricade. They thought that if the froth comes to the road, then only international media will report. If the froth is stopped, not come to the road, then nobody will see the froth. Then I wrote an article at that time saying that it's an irresponsible decision. You know, you are just cheating the system and the solution is only for 4 days. At that time, BDA chief called me and said, Jovially, TVR, you are known for criticizing us, but we have solved the problem of Bangalore. Then I told him, solution of 4 days is not going to help. As I predicted, on the 5th day, the froth crossed over. Then I called him and told him, see how irresponsible your engineers are in your organization. Then he smiled at me. We got what we want because we spent 2 crores. You know, 40% of 2 crores have pocketed. Okay? Now, don't smile. Now you will understand the implication of that 40%. You know, people use this water for growing the vegetable. And fish in the lake comes to the city. Okay? And milk, because of the green plant in the lake, goes as a fodder to the cattle. You know, I analyzed the milk sample, fish sample and vegetable. Vegetable like pudina, spinach, radish, etc. All of them had heavy metal. You know, heavy metal in the food chain, is it a good sign? I am asking a question with the last bench fellows. There is a voice. I thought last bench is lost in the system. LOST. But it's there. You know, because of that heavy metal in our food, there is a higher incidence of cancer and kidney failure. The Bangalore is number 1 as far as cancer is concerned. Look at the latest statistics. Kidney failure, which is 1 in 1 lakh about 12 years back, today is 1 in 5,000. We have dialysis unit in each ward. And when I visit schools, I see a very pathetic situation. What is that? School children losing their kidney. In one of the schools, LKG girl had lost 1 kidney. 8th standard girl had lost both the kidneys. After a year, when I visit the same school, when I asked the principal about that girl who was in the 8th standard, he said, she is no more. You know, this is the cost we are paying for the pollution. This is the cost for the mistake of engineers, not treating the pollutant and letting the water body get polluted. We are paying. In the same school, you know, the last month, the security guard in charge of from Nepal died of the kidney failure. You know, the asset of the nation are the youth. When we lose them, it's very painful. You know, that's where responsibility is on our shoulder. Okay? That's where I pushed the government to rejuvenate the thing. You know, the Supreme Court gave a favorable thing, penalized the government of Karnataka 500 crore. With that, we are doing the rejuvenation of Bellandur and Vartur Lake. Even before Bellandur and Vartur Lake is rejuvenated, yesterday I noticed that the government wants to fill untreated wastewater into that lake so that they want to solve the water crisis in the city. I called the Additional Chief Secretary, Mr. Rakesh Singh, and I told him this is not acceptable. I said that if you continue to do it, we will approach the Supreme Court. You know, when we did that study, one of the things is if you want to decontaminate the lake, you need to do the desilting. That is where engineering students, their talent is required to do the bathymetric analysis. If you do the current depth assessment and the historical depth, difference will give how much silt is accumulated. When we quantified, we have 11 million cubic meter of the silt. What is the worth of that silt? If I convert it to brick, it becomes about 1,500 crore. If I convert that into the fertilizer, because this is a nutrient-rich silt, the worth is about 15,000 crores. Then I had a meeting with the local farmers of the Vartu. They agreed to take the silt. In 400 acres, they agreed to take. When we gave the silt to them, after every month I visit that place. During one of my visits, the local farmers told me they got a bumper crop. And each farmer tells me, because of the silt, they got 1.5 lakh additional revenue per acre for one crop. In a year, they grow thrice. The crops like pudina, spinach, radish, etc. Thrice. You can imagine 1.5 lakh per season per acre into 3 times 4.5 lakh into 400 acres. That shows the worth of the nutrient-rich silt. That is what engineers have to do. You should assess the quantity of the silt and do the desilting in each village. There won't be a poverty of water in any region. This is how Army helped me in the study. Look at the local youth, Army joining hands with me and also some other students from my group. Okay, now what are the solutions we have done? KCST will talk about rainwater harvesting. Before that, let me show at community level what is the best of and wastewater treatment, rainwater harvesting through the lakes and mini forest in each one. And the greatest thing is sensitizing the youth. I always believe if I sensitize the youth, they become responsible. Okay? Now, how the technology has worked for the wastewater treatment. Go to Chakkur Lake. Chakkur Lake in 2005, surrounding area there were 25 wells were there. It showed the presence of nitrate. Nitrate is a carcinogen which introduces cancer in the system. Then we pushed the government to rejuvenate the lake. I was in the committee. The government said that they will give the money only for secondary treatment plant. The treatment has 3 levels, primary, secondary and tertiary. Secondary treatment will remove only the large particle and chemical ion. To remove the nutrient, you need a tertiary treatment, which government was not having the money. So then what I did is I integrated a constructed wetland and algal pond. With this, we get tertiary treated water. When we monitored this lake for the last 10 years by my student, today there are 300 wells in the locality. Neither the wells nor the lake has any contaminants, no nitrate. So I have a satisfaction of, through the science, I am giving the clean water to those 300 well water users. That's how you should contribute to the society. Okay? Then, let us look at the water sustainability situation in Bangalore. Anyway, he is going to talk further. City receives the rainfall of 700 to 850 millimeter. If you harvest the rainwater, you have 15 TMC of water. There are 2 ways of harvesting, rooftop harvesting and through the lake. Through the rooftop harvesting will give additional water, which anyway the next speaker is going to speak. Navneet is going to tell. The best option, rejuvenate the lake, retain the rainwater in the lake. We have 193 lakes. You can retain the rainwater in that. Second is, the Chakkur model if you replicate. The city requires 18 TMC of water. If you get rainwater of 15 TMC, 70% of the water demand is met. Another 16 TMC, because of the wastewater treatment of 18 TMC you will get. Which means, for a city where water demand is 18 TMC, you have 15 TMC because of rainwater harvesting, 16 TMC because of the wastewater treatment, we will have 31 TMC. This is a sustainable solution. That means throughout the year and every year you will get it if you practice it. But I have the solution formula 5R. First R is a responsible citizen. When they are responsible, they will allow the rejuvenation of the lake so that I can retain the rainwater. They will also allow the reuse and recycle of the wastewater. When we do that, like in Chakkur and other place, we will have water sustainability. We also create water bodies. The water body in my campus is a good experimental plot for my students. Not only that, I have also otter in the campus because of the water body. Otter is a voracious eater of fish. I don't feed fish, but the nature provides the fish so that animals survive there. Okay, and also when I meet people from drought area, the solution given is desilting and creating the water body. That's what is done in Mudbidre. This saint, they created a water body based on our proposal and also desilted 2 lakes. And because the saint did it, 30 the other lakes out of 32 were desilted by local people. Last year there was a scanty rainfall in this region, but Mudbidre didn't face water crisis because of this initiative of managing the local water resources. And seeing the success here is because of the youth. I saw this engineering college CEO is also quite young. I convinced him to have the water body in his campus in 2017, which stores 25 lakh liters of water, and also the catchment, planting with a native species of vegetation. So when I visit that institution next year, I see the greenery with abundant water. There's a smile on her face. Something very interesting I noticed. This gentleman, when he met me, he was alone, bachelor, not getting the partner. But after creating the water body, within a 6 months, he gets a partner, wonderful partner, who take care of the entire family. You would have seen in Bangalore, all these faceless fellows, they will search for partner in Facebook to file the divorce in the next week. Whereas this gentleman, through this sustainable option, he has a sustainable family where there is a happiness for the last 5 years with 2 young children at home. And also whenever I have traveled to their institution, she doesn't want me to stay in a guest house, I have to stay in their house. See, that kind of people, that kind of mindset I don't get in Bangalore. This happens only because in a region where culture is rich. You saw the morning play. What is the message there? The integration of science, society, culture and spirituality. You all enjoyed that sketch, but that is how we presented the science through the culture. When the integration happens, there is a sustainability in the system. Okay? Then, come to my campus. You will see this climber. Look at that architecture. If you are an engineer, you will appreciate that. Clockwise and anti-clockwise mechanism to prevent the coiling. This is what you should adapt for preventing the coiling in the wire. I was fascinated by this. I got the 14 seeds from the Uttar Kannada. Out of 14, I planted 7 in 7 locations. Out of 7, only 1 place it survived, next to the building where I worked for 2 decades. That means even the plants know who will take care. When Professor Nagesh came to the campus for one of the course, he also saw this climber. In front of this department, we created a mini forest in 2-hectare area. 49 native species, 500 saplings were planted when I was a student. At that time, Parthenium was there. The groundwater table is 150 feet. Today, I have the water at 10 to 15 feet because of this mini forest. And you get a feel of the rainforest and with a rich diversity of animals like slender lories, etc. And temperature in this region is 2 degrees lower. Now you got the solution how to have water for everyone. Okay? That is what we communicate to the wider section of society through the environment education program. And also I conduct a course popularly known as environmental management course for the last 21 years. We are doing the capacity building at all levels. People in the industry, people in university, as well as school children. And we organize a symposium popularly known as Lake Symposium once in 2 years. 1,000 people attend. Uniqueness is school and college students participate. Okay? And children do simple experiment. They come and attend the session and they also do the presentation on the last day. When they do it, they become confident. Because they attended a session of 3 days, they acquire the knowledge. That is how the capacity building happens. If you need more details, you can go to this portal, you will get it. I don't use mobile. You can reach me through email. I assure you, within few hours you will get the response because I am always with the laptop. Unlike people with mobile, but they don't receive the call. Yesterday one number was shared with me saying that I have to contact that person. When I called that person didn't receive the call, nor bothered to contact me in the yesterday evening or today morning. So then what is the use of having the mobile in the hand if you are not active in the system? Well, look at the portal where you get all the details. These are the things. In YouTube also my TED Talks are available. For 15 minutes you can share with your friends and your colleagues. Okay? And one of the greatest things happened was designating Aganashni as a Ramsar wetland. You know, that is my 2.5 decade work in Western Ghats. We were successful in convincing the ministry and got the tag of Ramsar wetland. You find out what does it mean. You know, this is the work, the report which we submitted for it. After 3.5 years successful pursuing the system, we were successful in getting that tag. Okay? See, my agenda is to put to sow the seeds of knowledge in this young brain. They become successful. That's what the country requires. When they become successful, they sustain water and the forest so that you all will have water at home. Okay? When youngster does a good job, there's a smile on everybody's face. That's what I noticed with all of you. Thank you very much for listening to me.